Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. We are from 5 Group. My name is Mutiah and my friends Nizar ul Haq. We will explain about the psyche of ant in literature. Psychoanalysis is defined as a set of psychological theories derived from the work and theories of Sigmund Freud. At the heart of psychoanalysis is the belief that all people have unconscious thoughts, feelings, desires, and memories. What the psychoanalysis can do is to piece together the various elements of an artist's life and his works, and to construct from this the artist's mental constitution and his instinctual impulses. In relation to literature, Freud analyzed it to children, little children playing. Should we not look for the first stages of imaginative activity as early as in childhood? The child's best loved and most intense occupation is with his play or games. May we not say that every child at play behaves like a creative writer, in that he creates a world of his own, or rather rearranges things of his world in a new way which pleases him? It would be wrong to think he does not take that word seriously. On the contrary, he takes his play very seriously and he expends large amounts of emotion on it. The opposite of play is not what is serious but what is real. In spite of all the emotion with which he catches his word of play, the child distinguishes it quite well from reality, and he likes to link his imagined object and situation to the tangible and visible things in the real world. This linking is all the differentiates the child's play from fantasy. The creative writer does the same as the child at play. He creates a world of fantasy which he takes very seriously, that is, which he invests with large amounts of emotion while separating its fair play from reality. The motive forces of fantasies are satisfied wishes, and every single fantasy is the fulfillment of a wish, a correlation of unsatisfying reality. These motivating wishes vary according to the sex, character, and circumstances of the person who is having the fantasy, but they fall naturally into two main groups. They are either ambitious wishes, which serve to elevate the subject's personality, or they are erotic ones. In young women, the erotic wishes predominate almost exclusively, for their ambitions is as a rule absorbed by erotic trends. In the young men, egoistic and ambitious wishes come to the fore clearly enough alongside of erotic ones. But we will not lay stress on the opposition between the two trends. We would rather emphasize the fact that they are often united. Just as in many altar pieces, the portrait of the donor is to be seen in a corner of the picture, so in the majority of ambitious fantasies, we can discover in some corner or other the lady for whom the creator of the fantasy performs all his heroic deeds and at whose feet all his triumphs are laid. There are strong enough motives for concealment. The well-brought-up young woman is only allowed a minimum of heroic desire, and the young man has to learn to suppress the excess of self-regret which he brings with him from the split day of his childhood, so that he may find his place in a society which is full of other individuals making equally strong demands. Someone who likes to fantasies are people whose desires are not fulfilled. If their desires are fulfilled, then they are most likely not fantasizing. Things like children of rich people, it is unlikely that they rarely fantasize because their desires have been fulfilled. It's at the outset that the creative writer is a strange being who himself cannot explain his power to arouse new and intense emotion in us. Creative writers are people who like pour their fantasy into writing. When an adult's desires are not fulfilled, he will fantasize. When fantasizing, creative people can make works of art such as paintings, literary works like novels, short stories, or poetry.
What are the difference between creative writer and daydreamer? The difference between a creative writer and a daydreamer, we can see the creative writer tend to be the same as playing children. Why? Because they creative a fantasy world he take seriously and even very seriously. While their dreams have less value in fantasy because the fantasize more with mature thinking. Describe the analogy of creative writers as the children at play. Okay, so make an analogy with creative writers as the children at play. The child's best love and most intense occupation is with his play or game. The children have a word of pleasure principle. For example, there are children who are playing anywhere, and he play soccer on the side of the road, and then the goal is using slipper. They do it without caring, and then they don't care about uh, anyone who pass through the alley. And the important thing is to play, and then they do that in the alleyway. The the afraid child who does this at the age from birth to the age of 7 to 8 years. How does aesthetic pleasure in literature relate to author mind or imagination? In my opinion, the aesthetic pleasure which a creative writer afford us has the character of a for pleasure of this kind, and our actual enjoyment of an imaginative work pursued from a liberation of tension in our mind. Uh, Maybe that's enough for me and my friend Mutia. Thank you for attention. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. If you have question, please discuss on comment or WhatsApp group. Thank you.